What if adult Jack Marston time traveled to 1899? Jack's gun drawing speed was way faster than John and Arthur, although it could just be a gameplay mechanic. But one thing's for sure, he was a fast gunslinger. In this What If, we'll see how Jack Marston tries to change the fate of the van der Linde gang after he gets stuck there. The story starts right after the events of Red Dead Redemption 1, when Jack kills Edgar Ross. Jack was feeling empty and depressed as he was alone, but in the end, he chose to become a gunslinger. Jack does bounty hunting, and due to his skills and the fame of his father, he quickly becomes somewhat known throughout the West. Jack was doing some bounty hunting when he stumbles upon a strange man. That man was well-suited, wore a top hat, and had a mustache. Jack felt that he had seen this man before. The strange man greets him. Before Jack could ask anything, the strange man looks at him closely and tells him that he looks lonely. He tells Jack that everyone in his family is dead, his father, his mother, and his uncle, and that Jack is all alone now. He tells Jack that no matter how many men he kills or how many bounties he collects, that emptiness will never leave him. Jack asks him how he knows all this. The strange man ignores the question and talks in riddles. He says, "Remember the van der Linde gang? You are its last survivor." Jack looks confused and asks him how he knows this. The strange man then tells Jack that he can give him a chance to change everything. The fate of the van der Linde gang and the fate of his family. He then says, "Go to a cabin near Strawberry and meet Francis Sinclair. Then I'll tell you everything." Jack was hesitant, but the strange man looked strange. He looked like he knew everything, so Jack goes to the cabin near Strawberry. He goes inside and meets Francis Sinclair, and when he comes out of the cabin, everything has changed. He looks around, and everything seems new. Even Strawberry had changed. Jack roams around and tries to grasp the situation, but he couldn't. He goes to Beecher's Hope, which wasn't there. Jack is shocked. He buys the newspaper and sees the year, 1899. Jack knows he has time traveled, and ever since he left that cabin, everything was different. He goes back to the cabin, but no one is there. He goes to Blackwater and sees the strange man watching him. He goes up to him and asks why he is here. The strange man replies that the van der Linde gang is holed up at Horseshoe Overlook. Go there and try to change their fate. He then tells Jack not to reveal his true identity to the gang. He warns him that if Jack tells them who he really is, something far worse than before could happen. Jack asks him why he is doing this, and the strange man responds that he was curious and wanted to see something. With nowhere else to go, Jack heads to Horseshoe Overlook. He meets John, who is guarding the camp. John points his gun at him and tells him to clear off. Jack raises his hands and tells him that he would like to see the leader, Dutch. John denies him and tells him to clear off again. Seeing all the commotion, Arthur comes over and asks John what happened. Jack, seeing Arthur and John after so many years, feels emotional, but he shows no sign of it. Arthur asks Jack who he is and what he wants. Jack responds that he only wants to meet Dutch van der Linde. After insisting so many times, Dutch finally comes out and meets Jack. Jack tells Dutch to let him join the gang and that it would be very beneficial for them. Dutch initially denies it, but after seeing Jack's gunslinging skills, he lets him join. Jack is around 19, the same age as Lenny, and they get along pretty well. He meets everyone in the camp. He sees his younger self and is amazed. Now Jack could tell the gang his name and just get over it, but the strange man has asked him not to reveal his identity and to try to change the events that will transpire. Jack was thinking of telling the gang, but he can't, so he just tries to change their fate. First off, he asks Arthur if he collected debts from Thomas Downs, and Arthur says yes. Jack was sad as he could not save Arthur, but he understands Arthur's redemption is also important. Jack tries to pivot the gang away from chaos, and he tries to give some sense to Dutch. Arthur and Jack go fishing, and adult Jack goes with them. As the three were fishing, Agent Milton and Agent Ross show up. Jack, seeing Edgar Ross again, kills him. Agent Milton fires at him, and Jack kills him too. Arthur was shocked, but Jack knew these two agents would have played a major part in the gang's downfall. They go back to camp and inform Dutch. Jack advises him to move the camp as soon as possible, and they do move the camp to Clemens Point. Everything is good till now, as Jack killed Edgar Ross and Agent Milton. Everyone now sees him as a cold killer, But Jack had no choice. Some, like Arthur and Dutch, praised Jack for this. As the biggest threat to the van der Linde gang was gone, they celebrated, but Cornwall hired some other Pinkertons to hunt down the van der Linde gang. Days passed, and everything was going in favor of the gang. Jack would stop Dutch from getting involved with those two families, as there was no gold, and after some time, Dutch understood. The gang did everything that Jack said, and all his hunches were proven right. As the gang didn't get involved with those two families, little Jack doesn't get kidnapped, and as little Jack doesn't get kidnapped, the van der Linde gang never gets involved with Angelo Bronte, and Dutch never bangs his head in the trolley station robbery. All of these things lead to Dutch not losing his sanity. The gang still plans the St. Denis robbery in the hope that the law would show up late, as both Agent Ross and Agent Milton are already dead. The gang commits the heist, and the Pinkertons do show up, but there is some other agent, more deadly and more precise. Let's call him Agent Sinclair. Agent Sinclair is almost as deadly as Arthur or John, and his goal is to kill the van der Linde gang at all costs. Before anyone could realize it, Agent Sinclair captures Hosea and kills him in front of everyone, and everyone was shocked. Agent Sinclair tells them to surrender and save him the hassle of killing them. But as Agent Sinclair closes all entries and calls every Pinkerton he could find, everyone thinks this is the final showdown. The gang barely manages to hide in one of the buildings, and they were barely surviving. But Agent Sinclair calls everyone to search every house in the town. The gang barely manages to run, but as Jack was around, he saves Lenny from getting killed. As Jack was around, he also saves John from getting captured. The gang thinks this is it, but Dutch motivates them, and they barely manage to escape to Guarma. Now Chapter 5 goes the same, and everything was a mess. Chapter 5 goes the same, but with Jack being around the gang. After coming back from Guarma, the gang holds up in Lakay, but the Pinkertons ambush them. Arthur, Jack, John, Bill, and Sadie fend off the Pinkertons, and after that, the gang moves to Beaver Hollow. Arthur finds out he has TB and that he has very little time left. Jack never lets Arthur do the work, and he insists that Arthur rest. As Milton was already dead, Micah never gets offered the chance to be the rat. The gang is lying low and does very little work. Dutch makes a new plan with Micah, but Jack calls this plan wrong. Dutch didn't know what to do. His and Micah's plan was perfect in his eyes, but he can't ignore Jack, as Jack was always right. In the end, he asks Jack what to do. Jack tells him to just do one last heist and get the hell out of there. The gang does its last heist, gathers enough money, and then escapes to Tahiti. As the gang is loading onto the boat, Jack sees the strange man on the hill. He bids the gang farewell and talks to the strange man. The strange man is impressed, as Jack completely changed the fate of the van der Linde gang. Jack asks the strange man why he couldn't just tell them his identity. The strange man replies that if Jack told them his identity, something worse could have happened. Jack understands and asks what now, as they watch the boat go. The strange man tells Jack to go to that same cabin and meet Francis Sinclair. Jack goes to that cabin and meets Francis Sinclair again. After that, he comes out of the cabin and everything is normal again. Jack rushes to his house to see if it's still there. He reaches Beecher's Hope and sees the house. He also sees the graves of John and Abigail. Jack sees the strange man near the graves of John and Abigail. He meets him and asks why everything didn't change as he altered history. The strange man replies that it was another timeline and that nothing changed in this timeline. Jack was confused, but in the end, he accepted it. He goes to his home and writes everything in his journal, and later he makes a story like this, which becomes the most popular book. Anyways, if you liked this What If, consider subscribing and drop down in the comments what ifs y'all want next. In the next What If video, Franklin will eventually show up to save the van der Linde gang.